Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins History. In the world of American coin collecting there exists a mystery so powerful that even seasoned numismatists pause when they hear its name, a coin that should not exist, a coin that defies the history books, and a coin that has triggered some of the most intense treasure hunts across the United States. Today we dive into the astonishing story of the 1944 Lincoln Steel Wheat Penny, a coin that was never supposed to be minted yet somehow survived and now stands as one of the rarest and most electrifying discoveries in all of American numismatic history. The story begins during the darkest years of World War II when the United States Mint faced a crippling shortage of copper. So in 1943 the Mint made an emergency decision to strike pennies using zinc-coated steel, resulting in the famous steel cents that nearly every collector recognizes today. But by 1944 copper had returned and the Mint officially resumed striking pennies on bronze planchets, meaning every 1-cent coin of that year should have been made of traditional copper bronze, except for a few extremely rare mistakes like the one we uncover today. The 1944 Lincoln Steel Wheat Penny is not just a rarity, it is a historical accident created when leftover steel planchets from the previous year were mistakenly fed into the presses at the San Francisco Mint. These stray planchets should have been removed, melted, or repurposed, but instead a tiny handful escaped into circulation, and when collectors discovered them decades later they realized they had found something so extraordinary that it instantly rose to the top tier of U.S. coin rarities. What makes this coin even more incredible is the complexity surrounding its composition. The genuine 1944 steel penny is magnetic due to its steel core, and it displays a soft silvery gray color instead of the warm brown tone of bronze coins. This unique appearance combined with the sharp mint mark under the date creates a visual profile that is unmistakable to trained collectors and extremely exciting for anyone lucky enough to encounter one in the wild. The design itself carries the familiar beauty of the Lincoln Wheat series, sculpted by Victor David Brenner, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait standing as a symbol of strength, integrity, and unity across the American nation. On the reverse, the wheat stalks curve gracefully along both sides, representing prosperity and agricultural heritage, elements that collectors deeply appreciate because they represent the heart of early 20th century American identity. But rarity is where the 1944 steel penny becomes legendary. Estimates suggest that only a very small number of these coins were ever produced, with some experts believing fewer than 30 authentic pieces may exist in any condition. The survival rate is even smaller, as many steel planchet errors were destroyed during minting or discarded unknowingly. This minuscule population makes the coin significantly rarer than even the famous 1943 copper cent, a fact that specialist collectors constantly emphasize when ranking the most important U.S. mint errors of all time. Because of its rarity, authentication becomes essential. The genuine coin must not only be magnetic but must also have the correct weight, the correct metallic composition, and the exact die characteristics known to match the San Francisco Mint's tooling from 1944. Collectors also compare the rim thickness, reading smoothness, and plating texture, since counterfeiters frequently attempt to plate bronze cents to mimic the steel appearance. Serious collectors know that relying on professional grading services like PCGS and NGC is the safest way to guarantee authenticity. Another fascinating element lies in the potential variations among the surviving examples. Small die differences, minute strike inconsistencies, and subtle variations in surface texture can separate one known specimen from another, giving each surviving coin its own pedigree and identity. Expert collectors follow these pedigrees carefully because each one traces the chain of ownership and helps verify that a coin is part of the incredibly small group of authentic survivors. Collector demand for this coin is nothing short of explosive because it checks every box that defines a true rarity. It is historically significant, visually striking, undeniably rare, and undeniably tied to one of the most dramatic periods in American history. Serious U.S. collectors dream of encountering this coin because it represents not just wealth but the chance to hold an impossible mistake created during a pivotal moment in the nation's wartime effort. And now we come to the thrilling part, the moment that captures the attention of buyers, investors, historians, and enthusiasts across the United States: the highest real-world recorded prices for authenticated examples of the 1944 Lincoln Steel Wheat Penny have reached staggering heights, with professionally graded high-grade coins selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars and the top-known specimens achieving auction results soaring beyond $400,000 in major numismatic auctions, a level of value that proves this tiny steel cent is one of the ultimate treasures of American coinage. So if you ever come across an unusual silvery steel-colored penny dated 19 44 Especially one with the S mint mark beneath the date. Stop everything and test it immediately, because you might be staring at a coin worth more than a luxury home, more than a lifetime of savings, and more than most collectors will ever have the chance to hold in their hands. The 1944 S Lincoln Steel Wheat Penny stands today as a symbol of rarity, power, history, and extraordinary opportunity, making it one of the most exciting coins you could ever discover in your lifetime. Today we unravel the electrifying story behind the 1944 Lincoln Steel Wheat Penny with no mint mark, a coin that should never have existed yet somehow slipped through the machinery of history and became one of the rarest U.S. coins ever discovered. To understand the incredible significance of this coin, we must return to one of the most intense and transformative periods in American history, World War II. By 1943, copper had become so vital to the nation's wartime production that the United States Mint temporarily abandoned bronze cents and instead produced pennies made of zinc-coated steel. These steel cents were lighter, brighter, and unlike anything Americans had ever held in their hands. But by 1944 the war demands had shifted. Copper was again available and the mint officially reverted back to bronze planchets, meaning every penny dated 1944 should have been bronze, not steel. But history never unfolds perfectly. The mint's colossal machinery, its vaults, its conveyor belts, and its massive storage bins still contained leftover steel planchets from the previous year, and as the presses roared back to life, switching from steel back to bronze, a few of these steel blanks were accidentally mixed in, resulting in a minuscule number of 1944 pennies being struck in steel and released into circulation completely undetected. Among them was the no mint mark Philadelphia issue, the rarest among all known survivors. The 1944 steel cent from the Philadelphia Mint displays one of the most iconic designs in United States numismatics, sculpted by Victor David Brenner. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln, whose portrait symbolizes unity, leadership, and perseverance during times of national hardship. Beneath the date you would normally find no mint mark, because Philadelphia traditionally left its coins unmarked, making the absence of any mint mark correct for this issue. But what makes this coin remarkable is not its design but the metal itself. The cold silvery tone, the magnetic pull, the weight, and the very existence of this steel version creates a dramatic contrast against the billions of bronze cents produced that same year. Collectors prize this coin not only for its extraordinary rarity but for the powerful story it represents, a perfect blend of wartime necessity, minting error, and sheer survival against impossible odds. The Philadelphia Mint produced more than 1 billion bronze cents in 1944, yet only a microscopic handful of steel cents are known to exist. The existence of these coins proves how even the most disciplined minting procedures can yield mysteries that escape into circulation, waiting decades for collectors to uncover them. Authenticating this coin requires extreme caution because counterfeit attempts are shockingly common. Many scammers try to plate bronze cents to mimic the silvery finish of steel, but genuine 1944 steel cents are magnetic and they carry exact weight and composition readings consistent with the 1943 wartime steel issues. Serious collectors know that professional authentication through PCGS or NGC is essential because the true coin is so valuable, so rare, and so historically important that no collector should take chances with raw, uncertified pieces. Another element that fascinates experts is the subtle dye diagnostics on known authentic specimens. Each real 1944 steel cent struck in Philadelphia carries specific minting markers, including dye polish lines, slight variations in the positioning of the date, and unique reverse characteristics linked to the working dyes used in the period. These tiny details help trace each surviving example back to a known pedigree, allowing experts to verify its lineage and confirm its place among the few genuine specimens recorded in numismatic history. Demand for the 1944 no mint mark steel cent is unlike anything else in the Wheat Penny series because this coin represents the perfect trifecta of rarity, historical significance, and collector prestige. Every serious U.S. collector dreams of owning this coin, and many dedicate years of searching, hoping to find a stray example in old rolls, estate hoards, or forgotten collections. This coin's allure lies in the near impossibility of encountering one, yet the small chance that it could appear anywhere creates a level of excitement unmatched by most American denominations. And now we arrive at the moment collectors wait for, the moment that transforms curiosity into astonishment. The 1944 no mint mark Lincoln Steel Wheat Penny has achieved some of the most shocking auction prices ever seen for a U.S. small cent, with fully authenticated high-grade examples selling for amounts well into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the highest recorded sale reaching an extraordinary $400,000, proving beyond question that This tiny steel coin is one of the greatest treasures in American numismatic history. So if you ever encounter a 1944 penny that looks brighter, lighter, or magnetic, do not ignore it. Test it, preserve it, and authenticate it immediately, because you may be holding one of the rarest creations of wartime America and a coin that could change your life forever. The 1944 no mint mark Lincoln Steel Wheat Penny remains one of the most thrilling discoveries any collector could dream of, a symbol of history, a symbol of rarity, and a symbol of the endless possibilities still hidden within America's pocket change. In the silent shadows of America's past lies a coin so mysterious, so unexpected, and so shockingly rare that even seasoned collectors often refuse to believe it exists. And tonight we are unlocking the secrets of one of the most legendary wartime mistakes ever struck by the United States Mint, the 1944 Lincoln Steel Wheat Penny, a coin born from chaos, created by error, and now hunted by collectors like buried treasure waiting for discovery in pockets, rolls, and forgotten family jars across the nation. This coin story begins in the heart of World War II, a time when the pressure of global conflict forced the United States Mint to rethink everything, even the metals used to make everyday currency, and with copper needed for ammunition and battlefield communication equipment, the Mint introduced the famous 1943 steel cent. A zinc-coated steel penny unfamiliar to Americans yet necessary to support the war effort. But when the calendar turned to 1944, the Mint planned to return to copper pennies made from spent shell casings collected from military training grounds, and every Mint facility, including Denver, prepared exclusively to produce these new brass planchets, making the existence of any 1944 steel cent not just unusual but historically impossible under normal circumstances. Yet accidents do not ask permission, and somewhere on the production lines at the Denver Mint, leftover steel planchets from the previous year slipped into the machinery, producing an extremely small and undocumented number of 1944 steel wheat pennies, coins that should never have existed, coins that defy the official records of the United States Mint, and coins that today stand as some of the rarest and most valuable numismatic artifacts ever discovered. To recognize a genuine 1944 steel wheat penny, collectors rely on a keen eye and precise knowledge, beginning with the color and texture of the metal, because unlike the rich reddish tone of brass 1944 pennies, the steel version carries a bright silver appearance that stands out immediately under good lighting, and its zinc coating gives it a smooth, metallic shine that cannot be mistaken for copper. Another important detail is the weight of the coin, because authentic 1944 steel cents weigh approximately 2.7 grams, far lighter than the 3.11 grams of the brass version. And this measurable difference becomes one of the strongest indicators when verifying authenticity, especially for collectors who understand that fakes often combine incorrect weight, metal composition, and weak surface plating. On the obverse, you will notice the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials appear discreetly on the shoulder, and the Denver Mint mark, a clear and well-formed D located just beneath the date, stands as a key identifier that separates this rarity from its Philadelphia and San Francisco siblings, making the 1944 steel cent one of the most sought after mint mark errors in American numismatic history. The reverse displays the iconic wheat ears stretching along both sides, symbolizing America's agricultural backbone, and the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America remain bold reminders of a design that has captivated collectors for over a century, while the phrase E pluribus unum arches across the top, embodying unity during a time of global conflict and national resilience. Because this coin was never intended to exist, the number of 1944 steel cents surviving today is incredibly small, with researchers estimating only a handful known to collectors, many of which were discovered not in circulation but in old personal collections where their owners never realized the treasure they were holding, and each new discovery shocks the numismatic world with excitement and disbelief. Collectors evaluating authenticity must also watch for magnetic properties, because genuine steel cents are strongly attracted to magnets, unlike the brass versions, and this simple test helps separate real wartime errors from modern fakes, though professional grading remains essential due to the extreme value and the number of counterfeit attempts circulating in the market. Over the years, this coin has risen to legendary status not only for its scarcity but for its dramatic origin story, a unique combination of minting error, wartime demand, leftover planchets, and pure historical accident, and these factors make the 1944 steel Wheat penny, a centerpiece of any advanced collection and one of the most coveted coins in the entire Lincoln Cent series, collectors worldwide continue to search rolls, pursue estate sales, and investigate inherited jars of old coins hoping to find one of these elusive steel cents, and every discovery reignites the passion of coin hunters who know that the smallest penny can hold the greatest mystery, the greatest rarity, and potentially the greatest reward in the history of American coinage. Now, let's talk about the thrilling part that every collector waits for, the real verified auction records, because the 1944 steel wheat penny has shocked the market multiple times, with one specimen achieving a breathtaking sale of well over $400,000 in public auction, proving that this tiny wartime era commands enormous power and value in the world of rare coins, and in today's market, depending on condition and certification, the highest known sales for the 1944 steel wheat penny have reached an incredible $450,000, making it one of the most expensive and desirable Lincoln cents ever sold and an unforgettable dream find for every collector searching through their pocket change. So if you are holding on to old wheat pennies or searching through inherited collections, never overlook the date 1944 paired with the D mint mark and a silver-colored surface, because you may be staring at a treasure born of wartime chaos, preserved by chance, and valued today beyond imagination, a coin that transforms ordinary collectors into legends of the numismatic world. In the quiet corners of America's coin jars, tucked away inside dusty drawers and forgotten boxes, lies a coin that has silently witnessed the rebirth of a nation after the storm of World War II, and tonight we unravel the powerful and overlooked story of the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that carries the spirit of a recovering nation, the precision of the United States Mint, and the unexpected potential to surprise collectors with rare errors worth extraordinary value. When the year 1946 began, the United States stood on the edge of transformation, returning from years of global conflict into a period of peace and reconstruction, and the U.S. Mint shifted once again from emergency wartime metals back to traditional copper alloys, giving birth to millions of Lincoln cents that symbolized the country's return to normalcy and economic revival. This powerful penny is part of the legendary Lincoln Wheat series designed by Victor David Brenner, whose portrait of Abraham Lincoln had already become a national icon since its debut in 1909, and on every 1946 example, collectors admire the bold lettering, crisp facial details, strong wheat ears, and the familiar American symbolism that shaped one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage history. The composition of the 1946 penny returned to 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a warm reddish-brown alloy known for its durability and classic appearance, and this return to copper ended the short era of steel pennies that dominated the wartime years, making 1946 the first full year of traditional copper production since 1942. Collectors analyzing mint varieties of the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny must pay attention to the three mint locations responsible for striking this coin, because Philadelphia issued the majority with no mint mark beneath the date, while the Denver Mint used a clear D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint produced its own share marked with an S, giving collectors multiple varieties to explore and compare. The Philadelphia issue is the most common, but it remains historically important due to its association with the first large-scale post-war coinage, and many of these coins still exist in circulation, although the highest quality survivors with sharp strike and original luster are now difficult to find, making high-grade examples particularly attractive to serious collectors. The Denver Mint struck its coins with the distinctive D mint mark, and Denver's reputation for strong, consistent strikes makes these coins visually appealing when found in mint state condition, yet even with higher production quality, very few have survived without scratches, discoloration, or handling wear, which pushes pristine examples into higher value categories for advanced numismatists. The San Francisco Mint, marked with an S beneath the date, produced a smaller quantity compared to Philadelphia and Denver, and many of these coins show softer strike details, especially around Lincoln's hair and the wheat ears, creating greater rarity for sharply struck examples and adding extra challenge and excitement for collectors seeking top-tier condition coins. Beyond mint marks, one of the most thrilling aspects of the 1946 penny is the discovery of rare and valuable die errors, especially the highly collectible double dies, repunched mint marks, clipped planchets, off-center strikes, and die cracks, all of which transform an ordinary penny into a high value. Numismatic treasure sought by error specialists nationwide. Among the most talked about errors are the 1946 D repunched mint mark varieties, where the D appears doubled, shifted, or shadowed due to the manual punching process used at the time, and these RPMs can bring excellent collector premiums, particularly when the doubling is dramatic and easily visible even without magnification. Another exciting error category is the off-center 1946 penny, where the design appears shifted toward one edge. Due to misalignment during striking, and the more extreme the off-center shift while still showing the date, the more desirable the coin becomes, especially when the shift reaches 10% or more, creating a bold and unmistakable visual rarity. Collectors also prize die cracks and cuds on this coin, where metal flows into breaks in the die, creating raised lines or blobs on the surface. And although these flaws occur naturally as dies wear out, examples with large or dramatic breaks are particularly appealing and can bring strong prices among die state specialists. The 1946 penny also carries tremendous historical significance because it represents the United States Mint returning to its pre-war metal supply chain, and every genuine copper 1946 wheat penny serves as a symbol of stability, prosperity, and the reopening of America's industrial strength after years of wartime sacrifice, which adds emotional and historical depth to this collectible coin. Advanced collectors often search for full red examples graded by professional services such as PCGS and NGC, because copper coins darken naturally over time, making bright, original red luster incredibly rare, and these glowing red survivors represent the most visually stunning and most valuable versions of the 1946 issue from all three mints. Now we arrive at the moment collectors always wait for, the exciting part where real market history comes to life, because the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny has surprised the auction world multiple times, with superb full red mint state examples achieving stunning prices, including an extraordinary sale of more than $14,000 for a high-grade 1946 D specimen certified at the top of the population reports. In fact, the highest verified auction prices for 1946 wheat pennies have reached well over the $10,000 mark in mint state red condition, with the finest known examples commanding enormous premiums due to their rarity, preservation, and glowing original luster, proving that even a common year penny can become a numismatic powerhouse when preserved at the highest level. So whether you're coin roll hunting, searching through old family change, or exploring your own collection with fresh eyes, never underestimate the power of the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny, because fine condition, rare mint marks, dramatic errors, and brilliant red luster can transform an ordinary copper cent into a remarkable and highly valuable piece of American history. In the quietest corners of America's pocket change, beneath decades of dust and long-forgotten drawers, hides a coin from the dawn of the post-war American boom, a coin so ordinary in appearance that millions pass it by every single day, yet deep within its copper surface lies the story of a nation rebuilding, a mint perfecting its craft, and a collector's treasure waiting to be rediscovered. And today we unravel the thrilling mystery of the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark. As the year 1950 began, the United States stood at the threshold of a cultural and economic transformation, with families returning to normal life after World War II and the American economy soaring into prosperity, and the Philadelphia Mint played a critical role by producing hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents that would circulate through the pockets of a new generation of Americans. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny belongs to the iconic Wheat Cent series designed by Victor David Brenner, whose portrait of President Abraham Lincoln had already become one of the most recognized symbols in American coinage, and this timeless portrait, sharp, dignified, and sculpted with remarkable detail, continues to fascinate collectors who admire its deep historical roots and artistic excellence. On the reverse, the classic wheat ear design stands tall, celebrating the nation's agricultural strength and honoring the American farmer, and even though these coins were mass-produced, the crispness of the wheat stalks, the bold United States of America lettering, and the clean 1-cent inscription determine how collectors judge the quality, demand, and long-term desirability of each surviving example. The 1950 penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which used no mint mark beneath the date, and because this issue saw heavy nationwide circulation for decades, finding pristine, Untouched specimens with full red luster has become a difficult challenge, heightening demand among serious collectors who appreciate early 1950s mint quality and historical significance. The composition of the 1950 penny returned to the classic 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc mixture, producing a warm, rich color that experts refer to as red, red-brown, or brown, and the most valuable examples are those that have retained their original fiery red brilliance for more than 7 decades. A rarity that grows more precious with every passing year. Collectors also look closely at strike quality, because many Philadelphia cents from the early 1950s show soft details on Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat, and identifying sharply struck examples with immaculate luster and minimal marks is critical, as these elite pieces rise to the top of grading populations and attract advanced collectors who compete fiercely for the best survivors. Error collectors also find the 1950 penny thrilling because it appears with several dramatic and highly collectible minting errors, including off-center strikes, clip planchets, die cracks, lamination flaws, and the always desirable double die varieties, each of which adds rarity, value, and excitement to a coin that many people mistakenly believe is common and unremarkable. One of the most notable error categories on the 1950 penny is the off-center strike, where the design shifts to one side due to misalignment during striking, and the more extreme the shift, while retaining the date, the more valuable the coin becomes, with dramatic off-center pieces being considered showpieces among error specialists. Another prized group includes lamination errors, where impurities in the copper alloy cause thin layers of metal to peel or split, creating dramatic texture on the surface, and while these errors were unintentional defects, collectors today consider them fascinating relics of mid-century minting technology, making them popular additions to advanced error collections. Die cracks and die breaks also appear on many 1950 cents, often creating raised lines or blobs of metal across Lincoln's portrait or the wheat ears, and the larger and more dramatic these breaks become, the more they intrigue specialists who chase unique die states and the story each error tells about the life cycle of the minting dies. The Philadelphia Mint produced more than 300 million examples of this coin, but despite this enormous mintage, the vast majority were worn down through decades of daily circulation, and only a tiny fraction survived. In immaculate mint state red condition, forming the upper echelon of collector interest where rarity and beauty combine to create true numismatic value, the 1950 penny also serves as an important marker in America's numismatic timeline because it represents the early post-war years when American craftsmanship, minting technology, and coin production were rapidly improving, and each beautifully preserved example stands as a small but powerful reminder of the economic growth and cultural optimism that defined the 1950s. Now we come to the moment collectors wait for, the thrilling reality of what this coin has achieved in the marketplace, because the highest grades of the 1950 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny have shocked auction houses, with stunning full red specimens graded MS-67 RD selling for more than $9,000, and the finest examples pushing even higher as collectors chase low-population treasures. In fact, the highest verified auction results for this coin exceed the $9,000 level for the brightest, cleanest, and most perfectly preserved examples, proving that even a coin once dismissed as common can rise into elite value territory when it carries flawless surfaces, blazing color, and exceptional condition. So the next time you sift through your change, explore a family coin jar, or examine your collection with renewed curiosity, never underestimate the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny, because hidden among ordinary copper cents may be a high-grade survivor, a dramatic mint error, or a breathtaking full red beauty that tells the story of America's past while holding real and exciting value for today's collector.